So good morning, everyone. I'm also very excited to be here. I didn't understand really that this site is historical. So what I'm going to tell you today, and I'm very proud, I'm very excited because this is, in a way, an examination day for the project. For the project officially was ended on the end of February. So today I'm going to talk about, give you an overview where the EHR for CR project came from. And thank you, Pierre, for an excellent explanation of the setting of IMI projects. Yes, on that note, I was part on an FBI working group working in 2007 to 2008 to explore the opportunities of leveraging EHR data to support clinical research. We came up with the recommendations. We thought it was very, very important that could expedite the development of new medicines much, much faster and enhance clinical research and benefits not only for the pharma industry, but for clinical research as a whole, which in its end effect will provide much value to patients. You know what? At that time, when we sent in the final recommendation for the research groups in FBI, we didn't understand how this could be realized. Just a couple of months later, the solution came when IMI was launched. So that was an excellent thing. So what I'm going to do is to give you a very, very brief overview of the project and then the exciting things, because this is not the graduation day. It is the starting point of something that this project has taken in an R&D phase and how we actually taking this as a sustainable and scalable solution for actually tackling the problem we already dealt with almost 10 years ago. So I'm going to talk to you about the objectives and deliverables, but furthermore, how we are going to scale up now. And I'm going to talk, this first step is what we call the Champion Program. And also one of the deliverables of the project is also the Institute, because scaling up with these kind of solutions need a neutral governance body. We find that out from day one. So, in a sense, this picture described the situation and the problem statement of the project. It's easy to understand that we have an increasing amount of high-quality data that within hospital data, and in electronic health records. And it's easy to understand the potential if we can connect these, reuse this health data across hospital sites, in different EHR systems, and in countries and across countries. And you can actually take that trajectory across regions and across continents. What you get, you have an enormous potential to make and perform excellent clinical research. And for the pharma industry, of course, this provides that we can cut down. We can make our research studies, our clinical studies, right from the beginning to demonstrate that these patients, our hypotheses are right, and we can find the patients much faster. For this project, EHR for Cell project, is that within the scope of the project, we were bold. So we found out what are the 3 use cases that we would like to pursue on, that we would like to validate in this scalable solution. So the first one is actually to provide much better input so we can validate our protocols, then expedite our recruitment processes, and also to find out how we can transfer in a trustworthy way data from EHRs directly to what we call in our clinical trials electronic report forms. That process, you may know or may not know, take about 8 hours per patient to do that. Scale that up in clinical trials with 30,000 patients, you can realize the amount of time, extra time, that would take, which impede the speed for taking a medicine to patients as a beginning. And this is important. What we, in the Champion program, what I'm going to tell you is that these scalable solution, these 3 services, is just only the beginning. There are so many other services just waiting to be developed for different stakeholders, for hospitals, taking in primary care data. So to provide you with an understanding what in this project we aimed for university hospitals and structured data in EHR systems. So here's a project in a 4-year project together where we aimed for developing a trustworthy technical platform. And trustworthy is important because we set up, this is a European project, these kind of solutions, this platform should be able to be run in every member state, complying to all kinds of regulation by means of data privacy and so on and so forth. And it should be scalable, and it should be used for supporting clinical research in the 3 areas that I demonstrated for you. We got an extension year, so after we've done the R&D work, then we get an extension year to prepare for launch, to actually taking the project from an R&D status into a form, into a process, into a plan that can take these solutions into a scalable environment. Here you see like 3 siblings. These 3 services are connected with each other. From the left-hand side, you see the support of protocol feasibility as we describe it, where we actually can get data to support our protocols. And if we're successful with that, of course, the next thing is to find the patients and support that process in order to recruit patients. And the third one, as I've described to you, is also very important. The project has been able to validate the first 2 services. And we have done, I would say, about 50% of the work, the design and the solution and so on. And we have actually demonstrated that third service is in a kind of a controlled lab environment. You can also see the process here as a more deep understanding. So the end results of the second service is, of course, informed consent, which open up, of course, to be able to extract data always behind hospitals' walls to make that happen. So everything has been thought of by means of data privacy and data security, and I will explain more about that. This is just an overview of this excellent combination of private-public partners. So EHR4CR project consisted of 10 pharma companies, 11 hospital sites, and a number of important European academic centers, SMEs, and other players. Together with an advisory board, and also where we were happy to have an engagement already with FDA 2011. I was very proud to go to US because the project was actually handpicked out. There were 4 projects that were handpicked to FDA to actually show this is what we are aiming to do. And FDA was very keen to follow this project. A fellow colleague from Glasgow University and me also had a presentation for EMA headquarters in London, September 2014, and together with all EMA's inspectors for all European countries. That was an experience, and it was so nice to present the project and also getting the questions about data privacy. And why was it nice? Yes, because I could explain to them that we have take all precautions. And that also meeting was landed very well. So this is also a way of what we did, and I will not explain in detail, but this project is a multidisciplinary project where we are not only sort of developing a technical platform, we also developed a business model, because if this is going to fly, we need to take a deep understanding about the different value propositions for the different stakeholders, because our solution is actually going to be a win-win situation. So what you see here is that we validated the first 2 services together with the partner hospital, showing that it works. And then in the almost before 2015, we also made the decision to, within the consortium, to have the first EHR for CR service provider. And I'm very proud, I'm very happy about the Custodix taking on that role, which actually took the R&D platform and made an absolutely major overhaul, improved different elements, and produced a commercial platform, which you will go into here after me, which is called the Insight platform. And I don't know where you are, Brecht, but I would like to say Insight is an excellent name, and sort of taking that for you, because the platform is going to provide insights, of course, by means of knowledge, but it's also called Insight because everything is taking place at site, inside at the hospitals. He has to demonstrate that in the EHR service solutions, no data is leaving the hospital. That is a key element to make our solution and this working fly across European countries. And that is also one of the unique different examples about the EHR for CR solutions, which is absolutely different from the other big data aggregators that we see out there. And that's why also that the business models is important. So we are now launching today, of course, the Institute as a governing body, but also what we call the Champion Program. Champion Program is something that is not an IMI project. As I said, the project was ended in end of February. Now taking the first service provider together with what we call Champion Industry Group, which consists of FBI partners that has already been part in the project, but also so nice that we have, for example, Börje Ingelheim and Icon, who has not been part of the project, but realized the potential it has. To take this Insight platform into a testing environment under the Champion Program time limit, and connecting new hospitals to the platform where we actually test out the first 2 services. And we're going to do that on real studies. We're going to do this live, and therefore the Institute here is going to take an important role to demonstrate the joint effort, how the value to our studies can be done. And also, of course, the Institute is taking a part, as you already have understood, the kind of overseeing that everything that takes place in the platform is done in a trustworthy way. Very short, here are the 2 services that we're going to test out. Testing the feasibility of our services. One thing that I think that Brecht is also going to talk about, the unique features with the platform is, of course, that we will be able to get counts back to see, does our protocol, do we find patients over there in a network of hospitals? And that can be done within minutes. And that is unique. And we can also connect any kind of hospitals, which is also one of the basic elements that we find for success. Just for pharma, these are, of course, the benefits. And to make it very, very simple, if we can, in a very fast way, actually validate our protocols, and we can do an iteration, and I think I heard that from Brecht yesterday, I think it's absolutely splendid. Imagine that the clinical team has a meeting in the morning, and we can do 3 or 4 iterations on the protocol, and then have lunch and validate it, which otherwise would take months and months. So that sort of will expedite the whole process. All right, so the other question is, what's in it for hospital? And here's one example of the work that the business model sub-project team in EHR for CR did. And if we take it from right to left, I think that one obvious thing is that if we have connected hospitals to the Insight platform, they will provide a much more visibility of being hospitals that really are in the forefront of reusing their EHR data. So of course, an obvious one is enhanced reputation. Another more subtle thing is that being part of this will enhance the quality of their own data. And we have come to understand with surprise and happiness, actually, that this is probably one of the biggest things that we have received so far, that this is really an important driver for hospitals. Access to tools, of course, that they can, in a trustworthy way on their backhand side, and Brecht will talk more about that, use tools. And of course, increased income as part of being part of that increased income could be explained very simple. A hospital will be much more visible and can produce much more efficiently clinical trials being part of this ecosystem. And therefore, of course, having a much more income. And the most important thing, which joins everything, is that for our industry, we can produce medicines to patients much faster. And there are other trajectories here that the hospital can actually reuse their data to improve patient care in different ways by using the data. So recap on the Champion program. It actually a first step. This is a first step, and I will illustrate what is coming next. About validating this new commercial platform, define the rules of engagement together with the Institute, and as I said, also evaluate. So each of the partners is going to run for real studies, and then we are going to capture common metrics, evaluation aspects, which are going to publish to further promote the use of this and building of this ecosystem with an enhancing number of hospitals. And the outcome is that we can grow and take in more partners, enhance more services within the Champion program. And the question that I get almost every time I talk about this is, all right, exciting, what is happening next? And as ending, this is actually in the ambition back when we started the project, that we will develop a sustainable, scalable solution for enhancing clinical research. So this ecosystem can be described to, of course, that we have a growing hospital network. And this network actually will be one entrance is that it's going to be governed by the Institute as an influx of hospitals, providing them with information about this, and some of them will take the step to be connected to the network. So of course, this, as Deepak also said, the Institute is an international institute. So this is not sort of just within the borders of Europe, of course not. So in the continuation of things, of course, we would like, and we do have the ambition to have one US hospitals within the Champion program, 2016 and 17. Already in AstraZeneca, I have discussions and more than 2 questions about hospitals in China. Of course, it's possible. Secondly, growing the ecosystem, establish a federation of different service providers. That can take on more hospitals, but furthermore, enhance the number of new services, of course, to different stakeholders. And you can imagine what we can take in. Primary care, we could take in specialized services for different purposes, perhaps specialized diseases and so on and so forth. And also services which linked into to these two. And of course, service users, number of services, and of course also establishing a growing platform. On the left-hand side, there is some important principles in this ecosystem, which I believe is quite new. And that is that service provider, everyone has to win on this. And different service providers can, of course, thrive in this ecosystem. They need to collaborate, but surely they can be competitive. And one of the principles is that all hospital data should be accessible through the ecosystem. And I think this is new, and we thought at the time in 2011 that the time was ripe, and I think that now the time is even riper. So to end, looking at you, Pierre, I think that this project absolutely needed the platform within IMI, because this is something that couldn't be achieved, or very hard to be achieved, by only one partner or one private sector. So it has been an important journey, and this is in a way the graduation day, but you know, it's now the exciting time begins. So thank you for your attention.